Hey guys, I'm Peggy and I am trying to grow a cut flower garden on my allotment in Kanagawa Prefecture, Japan, which is just south of Tokyo and in zone 9B. Thanks for checking out my channel. Okay, so today we're not actually on the allotment, we are in my garden. I apologise, they're doing construction work behind me, so it's a bit noisy. But today we are looking at my Snapdragon. Check these guys out. They're doing so well. Ta-da! So, these are Snapdragon that I started on the 15th of August. No, didn't. 15th of October. The 15th of October, we are now on the last day of January. My frost date here, my last frost is around the last week of February. So these guys still have quite a long time. I've got another 4 weeks of being in these pots and they're starting to get big, they're starting to get leggy. So today I am going to pinch these out. Now the reason that you pinch things like Snapdragon is when you cut them off, instead of the one stem coming out, they're going to put out 2 new stems, which means you get twice as many flowers. Makes a much bushier plant. But it does delay your flowering by about a week, sometimes 2 weeks. So because I don't have very many, I can't fit very many on my allotment, and these are just for me, I'm not going to need all of these Snapdragons to be blooming at one time. So I'm actually going to go ahead and only pinch out half of them. Now it means that the first ones that come are going to have less flowers, but Snapdragon are cut and come again, so they should start coming for me. They'll just be on a smaller plant. And that will give me flowers sooner, and then I'll get a lot more a couple of weeks later instead of everything coming at one time. So if you don't have a big plot, or you don't really want to deal with subsequent plantings doing more than 2 or 3 seedings, this is a good way to kind of stagger your bloom times, is to only cut out half of your Snapdragon. Now, as well as pinching out half of them, I'm going to do an experiment today in propagating. Now, I've not really done any propagating before, and I've never done it before from my Snapdragon, but I think you can propagate from your cuttings, and there are 2 ways you can do it. One is to root them in water, and another is to root them in little pots of soil. And I'm going to try both types and see which one works best, if any work at all, is my plan. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and start pinching out some of these Snapdragons. I have 3 types of Snapdragon in here, if I can find my labels. I have Madame Butterfly, I have some Monarch, which I think is just a Monarch mix, and I have the Potomac, I think, Potomac, dark orange. So I've got these 3 that I'm going to be pinching out today. Also in here you can see my calendula, which are doing really nicely as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pinch out, I've got 2 rows of each, so I'm going to pinch out 1 row and not the other, is what I'm thinking. Although if there are some big ones, I might pinch them out too, because they're getting a bit leggy. So yeah, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start with these, which are my Potomac ones, and you can quite easily see that this row is a lot bigger than that row. So I'm going to pinch these ones out and leave those ones. So when you're pinching out, you want to make sure that you're leaving, it seems quite brutal, but you're going to cut them really, really short. So you want to leave 2 true leaves on each one. So if you can see this one, it's got 1 set of leaves, 2 sets of leaves, and I am going to cut it right there, 1. And you just go through and do all of them the same. So you can see now the ones that I've pinched, I took an extra couple at the back because they were really tall, but now they're all about the same size, like this. But I have lots of cuttings. Okay, so I'm not always as diligent as I should be in labeling everything, and I tend to mix stuff up quite a lot. So I'm going to do these one at a time to make sure that I'm definitely labeling everything right and I know what's what. So now I have cut all these, I have lots of cuttings. So what I'm going to do is, for each type that I have, I will take 1 water and 1 pot. Now, you don't want, you want these to become seedlings, obviously. So you don't want them to be putting lots of energy into the leaves. So I'm going to go ahead and chop off all the leaves. Not all of the leaves, some of the leaves. I'm going to leave these two little ones on the top. Now, I have heard that if you cut close to a leaf stem, that will actually become a root node. So I'm going to try that. Let's try that. Cut it closer to there and hope that that now becomes a root node. And for one, I'm going to pop it in. So how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That makes it easy. Okay, so I'll put 5 in water and I'll put 5 in the pot. Pot number 1. Let's see what it does. So then for the pot, I am going to do exactly the same, just chop off the bottom leaves. Got shaky hands, it's cold out here. Okay, then I'm going to poke a hole just in the edge of the pot here so I can get lots in one pot. And pop it in. Now, I have seen people do this and they use some kind of rooting powder and stuff, but I don't have any of that. So let's just see if this works. Okay, and there we go, our first one. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same with all the others. Okay, and that's my little pot done. So I am going to go ahead and do the same for all of my other types. These ones are a lot smaller. I don't have as much stem to work with, so I'm not sure if that's going to work. But we'll try. Okay, that's my Madame ones done. Okay, and that's my monarch. 2 of them are very short. This was actually pre-moistened soil. I made sure that the soil was nice and damp before I potted these up, so I don't need to water them now. So this is what we have. My 3 water and my 3 pots. Okay, so now that I have these all pinched, is the word I was looking for there, I'm going to put the Snapdragon and the pots back in my little seed pod that I have to try and propagate there, and these water ones, one's just fallen in the water, I'm going to rescue it. These ones I am going to put on my windowsill in the sun and see if I can get them to get any roots on them. and I will come back in a couple of weeks and show you if anything's happened, if this has worked at all. And then when we're out in the field, we can see if there's any difference in how long they take to grow, if in the water or in the soil, and how they produce flower-wise. So a nice little season-long experiment. But if this works, yay, free plants, great. But I'll check back in a couple of weeks and see how they're doing. Hi guys, okay, it is now Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's everyone. So it's been 2 weeks since I pinched my Snapdragon. So let's check in on them and see how they're doing, and then look at the bits that I was trying to propagate. Okay, so these are the Snapdragon that I pinched, and it's been really cold, so I wasn't expecting them to have done much, but you can see there you go. You can see that they are starting to put out some secondary shoots, just where I had pinched them previously. This one too. Look at that one. So you can see this middle bit is where I pinched, and then there are 2 new shoots coming out from the sides there. So that is good. And you can also see how the ones I didn't pinch are still much, much taller. So I'm thinking that I'm going to get flowers off of these ones first, and then hopefully a couple of weeks later, flowers off my pinched ones. And then I've got more up here too. And again, they're not doing too much. And these not pinched ones are still going really strong. So these are the ones that I pinched, but now let's check out the ones that I tried to propagate. Okay, so here they are. We've got the ones that I put in soil and the ones that I put in water, and as you can see, they're all doing pretty well. None of them have died, but there are definitely some that I have done better than others. So I'm going to start with those that have done the best, which are the Potomac ones. Now these ones are looking the healthiest here in the pot, but they're the ones that have done the best with the roots. So let's have a look at the roots. Okay, so even through the glass you can see that these have started to get really good roots on them. And these are definitely the best ones. Now, they're not all the same. Some have got lots of roots, and some have only just put out a couple. But they're all definitely rooting in. And I think these ones have even put out a new set of leaves. So not only have they put roots on, they're growing as well. Now, the ones in the pot look really good as well. They look really genki, healthy. But I'm really curious to see if they've got any roots on them. So I'm going to pull one up. Okay, I really don't want to damage the roots when I do these, so I'm just going to pull one up really carefully. There's nothing. No root at all. Let's try a different one. Pop him back in his hole. Okay, let's try a big one. Let's take this big guy. Oh, you can see one tiny bit of roots coming out there. Just the teeniest little bit at the end. But they're all still growing. But definitely, water propagation has given me a lot more roots than soil. Let's check the others. Okay, so next I have the Madam Butterfly ones. And on these, you can see some of these have got lots of roots. Look at that, that's great. One. This one too. Lots and lots of roots. Have any of them not rooted? This little one doesn't seem to have much going on. So out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 I put in there, 4 of them have got good roots on. So this is the pot that goes with them. Again, they're all looking healthy, nothing's died back. But have they got any roots? No! Nothing. I really thought these guys were going to have bigger roots. Because again, it looks like these ones are starting to put on new leaves. But there is no root there at all. Okay, and then last, I have the, what are these? The Monarch Mix ones. And these have not done very much at all. You can see some are just starting to think about coming on there, but not very much at all. Oh, this one's got some, a couple of roots, but in comparison to the Potomac ones, hardly anything. And I must say, these ones are looking the saddest. No. And in the soil as well, these ones are definitely looking the saddest. He doesn't look very happy. But let's check for roots. No, nothing in there. Oh, can I get that to focus? No roots. I'm really surprised because they hadn't died. I assumed these were putting on roots as well. But no, nothing. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. I'm so glad that I've been able to watch the ones in water make roots, but I really thought the ones in pots would too. So, what next? Okay, the ones that are in pots, I'm just going to leave in pots and see if they do anything. Like I say, they haven't died, so I'm just going to keep them on in pots. The water ones, the ones that have got good roots on them, I'm going to put them in pots now, put them in soil and pot them on, and hope that they grow. The ones that haven't got as many roots on, I'm going to leave in water for just a little bit because I see that some roots are coming. So these monarch ones, I'm just going to leave them in there for a little bit. Now I have been changing out the water every couple of days to give them nice fresh water, which I think is quite important. But I'll leave them in and see if any more of them root. So let's get these other ones potted on. Okay, so now I'm going to take out all my pots and pop them back into my seed pod, and I will put my little water glass back on the windowsill and leave that a little bit longer. And then I'll come back once these guys start putting out flowers and do a comparison later in the season. I'm really interested to see the difference between the plants that I pinched and the plants I didn't pinch, and then between these which have been soil propagated and water propagated, and just see if it makes a difference to the stem length and maybe the vase length, the amount of flowers I'm getting and the health of the flowers, and see if this is a viable way to be able to keep almost a succession planting without having to go back and look after my seedlings over and over and over again. Once I've done my seeds, this seems like a much nicer, simpler way to do it. And I really enjoy seeing the roots grow. It's fun. So that is all from me from now. If you want to come along this growing season with us and see what happens with these and if there's any difference between the plants, then remember to hit the subscribe button below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Bye.